Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Oscar-nominated film of the year, Spotlight. But before we get to that, how are you doing today, Sean? You been watching anything this week?
Not any new movies. I caught up on The Walking Dead, which is unusual for me. Usually I'm like a year behind, but I pre-ordered on Amazon.com.
Amazing. That's amazing on him.
Exactly. So yeah, I feel I splurged, and I'm glad I did. I love that show.
Still watching that show.
I love that show. I can't get enough. I love that drama. What about you? You watch anything?
Still watching How I Met Your Mother.
That's not nice.
I guess. I don't know. Sure. That's kind of like all I've been really watching is How I Met Your Mother. Not a whole lot else. I mean, that's a pretty fluff level show. So
yeah. I meant to see Deadpool this week. I saw that you actually liked it, Chris.
Yeah, I did. I went and saw Deadpool on Tuesday, and it was really good. I don't think it rewrote the
superhero genre.
Yeah, I don't think it rewrote the superhero genre, but it was definitely a really good movie.
Yeah, okay. I've heard great things. I mean, my friends just really enjoyed it, and they said it's like a really fun action movie.
And it was way more fun than even Batman versus Superman looks.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I mean, I'm never interested in superhero movies, but I've actually been very interested in seeing this one.
Yeah. I've been taking a lot of flack recently for my thoughts on Batman versus Superman.
That's right.
So, we decided that we're going to do a Batman versus Superman Kulturecast next month.
Yes.
Which will force you, unfortunately, Sean, to go watch it in theaters.
I guess I'll just have to join the bandwagon because...
Join the neckbeard bandwagon?
Oh my God, I love this movie. It's going to be so good.
No offense, but I mean, it just doesn't seem exciting to me.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to get me excited about a movie anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree. I feel you there.
Yeah. But am I watching anything else? No, that's really it.
Yeah, I'm incredibly excited, and it's rare for me to get this excited about a movie, to see The Witch tomorrow.
Oh.
I'm very excited.
Lucky you.
I know my horror juices are they're boiling. So
yeah, I don't know where, if anywhere, here is showing The Witch. I hope somewhere is.
Oh, I hope so. I hope you get to see that soon.
Yeah. I think some places are, but I don't want to have to drive all the way to Omaha to watch it.
That's real.
Yeah, so it's not that I don't want to. It's just driving an hour to see a movie is not realistic in this day.
Exactly, and it's like a heavy commitment for something you better be sure is good.
Yeah, I was saying it better be good because if it's not good,
Exactly. Yeah, we'll see.
Shit out of luck,
man.
Yeah, that's it though. Let's talk about Spotlight.
Sounds
though.
good.
So Spotlight came out this year, or last year, 2015. It is currently nominated for Best Picture, Actor in a Supporting Role for Mark Ruffalo, Actress in a Supporting Role for Rachel McAdams. It's also the director of the film. The director of the film, Tom McCarthy, is also nominated for Best Direction. The IMDb synopsis for the film is the true story of how the Boston Globe uncovered the massive scandal of child molestation and cover-up within the local Catholic archdiocese, shaking the entire Catholic Church to its core.
I know there's things you cannot tell me, but I also know there's a story here, and I think everybody will hear about it.
Do you think your paper has the resources to take that on?
I do. Do you?
The Boston priests molested kids in 6 different parishes over the last 30 years. The church found out about it and did nothing. We haven't committed any long-term investigative resources to the case.
No, we haven't.
And that's the kind of thing your team would do.
Spotlight? Guys, listen. Everybody's going to be interested in this. Obviously, the church will fight us very hard.
I'm trying to get some background information.
I don't want you recording
Film
this in any way,
stars, like I mentioned, Mark Ruffalo, Rachel McAdams, Michael Keaton, Liev Schrieber, John Slattery, Stanley Tucci, and Brian Darcy James. What'd you think of this film, Sean?
Oh, man. Okay. I was disappointed, to be honest. I'm just going to be blunt with this. I'm not that I didn't like the movie itself. It's just that after watching The Big Short, and I'm sure that people are going to compare these two movies, especially. It's kind of the same story, but it's very dry, and it's kind of without that style that I guess that The Big Short has that it doesn't, and it just is hard to sort of really sink your teeth into. And I watched it twice to make sure it wasn't me, but I don't know, it just felt like nothing really happened. It just felt sort of anticlimactic to me. I thought that the case itself was fascinating, and the way, again, like whenever it comes to scandals like this, it's amazing to see how corrupt a system can be. But I mean, besides that, I don't know. This movie didn't like really get me riled up the way The Big Short did. I don't know. What did you think?
I really liked it. I mean, prior to watching The Big Short last weekend, this was my pick for the film that I wanted to win Best Picture.
Yeah.
And to some extent, it still is. I really like it. I like the cast. I like the cast in this film more than I like the cast in The Big Short.
I agree.
I think everyone in this film is put to better use than the people in Big Short are.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to seeing this movie because of the cast. Yeah,
I mean, it's not like a quote unquote knock at The Big Short. I mean, The Big Short has an amazing cast as well, but
right.
Let's be honest here. Christian Bale and everybody. That Big Short is pretty much, for the most part, Steve Carell and Steve Carell and Christian Bale's movie.
Absolutely, I agree, and I agree. Like this movie is an ensemble piece. And I think the actors were great. I loved the characters, but yeah, I don't know. It just, I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't in the right mood, or after seeing The Big Short. But
I mean, I can understand. And when we talked a little bit, because we talked a little bit about Spotlight last week when we were talking about The Big Short, our guest Tim made I would say it's a pretty fair kind of statement that this movie is pretty dry, like you said, Sean. It's a pretty dry movie. I mean, and that's not, it's not necessarily like a bad thing,
right? And I was,
but I think that was really a good. I think that was a good choice by the director and the screenwriters of the film.
Yeah, no, totally. And I kept thinking of Tim's.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
comment, when we talked about The Big Short, about Spotlight, he said that, like, it's the content, like, hold on one second. It's the content. I feel like what he said before, it made total sense. And I'm thinking about, like, how do you do, The Big Short, when it has to do with banks taking your money, that's one thing. But when it comes to a sensitive subject like child abuse and like mass child abuse, that's a sensitive subject. You can't really throw fluff in there. You can't. It doesn't seem.
And you can't throw comedy.
Exactly. And that's that's the difficulty in telling the story. And I think that's in spite of all that, that's why it's such a great movie for what it does. But it's kind of, the story itself also kind of dooms it for I guess a flashy, compelling, or at least visually compelling movie.
Well, and I think that the reserved, really straightforward nature of this film is what I really liked about it, because there's not a whole lot. I mean, there's not a whole lot to this movie, really. It's these characters kind of sitting around talking to people on the phone or going out and beating the bush trying to track down leads. I mean, that's the entirety of this film. There's no Anthony Bourdain coming in and talking about, the interworkings of the Catholic Church, or there's none of these kind of weird cameos that serve to kind of explain why things are happening. I mean, there's none of that. Yeah. And I think that, that makes this film a lot drier than most people who would sit down to watch a movie like this would be expecting. I mean, I've been saying this since I watched the film, and I think the closest thing that I can compare this movie to, really, for me, is Zodiac, the David Fincher film, because, I mean, that movie kind of got the same, criticism leveled against it back when it came out, that, hey, this movie is pretty dry and boring, and there's not a whole lot of, really interesting stuff going on. And I'm a huge fan of Zodiac, and, anyone who knows me will know that I absolutely think that it's David Fincher's best film. And looking at a film like this, I mean, the comparisons are pretty obvious, and the films are very similar in that they take this very straightforward, no frills approach to this really kind of intense topic. And if you're not expecting a film that is going to be really straightforward and like you said, kind of dry, then you're probably going to walk away from this film thinking, oh, this movie's pretty boring, or it's just not kind of my cup of tea film wise.
Right. And I think that there are people who definitely appreciate movies like that. And like you said, like it's sort of that balance when every historical movie, or real based on true events, it always deviates, you know what I mean? And we even talked about in The Big Short, they even mentioned, they call it out on itself. But it is nice to get a story that's about the facts, and it's about telling the true story. And I think there's a level of respect for that, and I appreciate that. It's just, I guess, my argument is that I want to see a movie like this to be emotionally moved, to be the way I was. I keep referring to The Big Short because I was so I could feel my heart racing with them, and I could feel the struggle. And I guess maybe, part of the way I feel about Spotlight is the sad truth about what happened. I mean, that's kind of why everyone kept it quiet for so long, because it just sort of, they play it down, and it was played down.
Well, and I think that I honestly think that the way that they approached the film and the subject matter, I honestly don't know how they could have done it any better.
I agree with you.
Honestly,
I totally agree.
For as dry and kind of dour, and to some extent, some scenes kind of just completely devoid of feeling, because there are scenes in this movie where they're talking about some stuff that's really, terrible. And the characters, aside from Mark Ruffalo's character and Rachel McAdams, and I guess to some extent Michael Keaton, well, I guess all of them, you kind of get the sense that it's really upsetting them, but it's not like in a way where you have Steve Carell being like, you fucking assholes, screaming at people. It's a little bit more restrained in the way that it shows the characters flipping out and getting angry.
Exactly. And the difference in this case is that everyone already knows except for them. You know what I mean? And that's what they even say. They're like, they're not revealing any new truth to anybody specifically. The difference is bringing it onto the spotlight. And I think that's probably why there's that sort of like anticlimactic feeling, because that's what these characters were going through. They were going through finding these horrific things and then realizing that everyone already knows about it. They're not, it's like it's like coming out of the closet and everyone's like, we know.
Right.
So it's like that's maybe that's what it is. That's the truth is that it felt like that. I don't know.
Well, and I mean, I completely understand not being as taken by this film as I was, and like I said, I really was taken by this film. But that, and I think that's just my personality, I guess,
Sure.
is that I do kind of enjoy these, not dry, but I mean, it's on the dry side a little bit. I do kind of enjoy these dry-ish movies that are just like a bunch of journalists sitting around talking.
Yeah.
I actually really like that. That's kind of, something that I really enjoy in film, and a trend that it's not, it's not the most prevalent trend,
definitely.
There aren't a whole lot of movies I can draw from. We got this, Zodiac, All the President's Men.
JFK. I really like JFK though.
Yeah, it's a really hard subject matter to approach and be entertaining at the same time as getting across the story.
Exactly, and I think that's the thing. I guess as a filmmaker, do they have are they staying true is it their responsibility to tell a true story or to be entertaining? And I think that they did the best that they could. They really is like you said. I don't think this movie could have been done in a better way, and yet still keep that, still be true to the story. I don't know. It feels to me like it was the best it could be, and I appreciate that. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. You just got to be in the mood for it. For me, I wonder,
and like you said, I wonder kind of what the best way to do a film like this is. I wonder if it's, hey, try to make it super exciting and kind of detract from the truth of the story.
Yeah.
Or is it more important to tell a truthful story and let the kind of entertainment come out of the story you're telling?
Yeah, right. I think that they definitely went more truthful, and I think that's a good thing, especially for this kind of story.
Yeah, I understand the condemnation of the film not being entertaining. And it is kind of Oscar baity,
right?
And that's fine. An Oscar baity film, they happen every year. It shouldn't be surprising to anyone at this point.
Right, and comparatively speaking, it's definitely not the most Oscar baity film that we watched this month.
No, and I mean, Jesus.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
It's it's an indie film at the heart of it, on top of everything else. I mean, this is a really low budget film, regardless of the actors that are in it. It's a low budget film, right? I mean, it's an indie film.
That's sort of how this movie gets away with being. I love that it's an indie movie, because it's how this movie sort of gets away with sticking to the truth. And like you said, I mean, taking risks and being honest and letting the facts and letting the story kind of tell itself.
Yeah.
I love that.
This movie could have gotten away with some of the stuff it got away with if it was a big budget Hollywood film.
No way. And that's why I love seeing big actors in this. And I'm sure that's how it got its way, with all of its connections and all of its attachments. It made its way to the Oscars.
It has to.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I also think that's why it got attention, and I think it's a good thing. I think that's great, and I absolutely love it when an indie film makes it this far, because it proves that content, and that's what this movie is. It's all content. It can be as moving as as the scenes in Mad Max. You know what I mean? It's just a different type. I love that. I'm so happy about that. And that's a credit to those producers and that, that's tough.
Well, and when you look at the actors that are in this movie, like Michael Keaton or Mark Ruffalo or Rachel McAdams, I mean, those are big name actors, right. And they, not one of them really. I mean, Mark Ruffalo, even who got nominated, I wouldn't say that any of them. I mean, the focus of the film seems to be Mark Ruffalo's character, but I wouldn't say any one of them upstages any of the other actors in the film.
No, I totally agree. This is a great example of a really great ensemble piece, because I think. I forgot that I don't know if we mentioned, but it is strange that Mark Ruffalo's nominated for supporting role, because I would assume that if there was a lead role in this movie, I mean, I guess you could say it could be Michael Keaton, but I would think, like we said, emotionally, I'm attached to Mark Ruffalo's character.
I mean, I would agree. I would not say anyone other than Mark Ruffalo is the main character in this movie.
Right.
They spend a lot of the time with his character. I mean, all the Stanley Tucci interactions come from Mark Ruffalo and him interacting.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand. I mean, Oscars, being what they are and kind of taking them for face value. They don't always make the best decisions when it comes to nominations.
Right.
But I definitely don't think that he's the supporting actor of this film.
I don't either. I don't know. It's interesting because I don't know. I saw that, I love Rachel McAdams. Like, I'm a huge fan of hers. I love her work, but I was surprised to see that she was nominated, even though, I mean, I loved her in this movie. I thought her character was great, but she, compared to everyone else, I mean, they all were just, I don't know. It was weird to see her not, I don't know. How do you feel about Rachel McAdams in this movie?
I think Rachel McAdams was okay.
Yeah.
She doesn't do like a whole lot.
Right. That's how I felt, I guess. It's interesting.
Yeah. She doesn't do. Yeah. She doesn't do a whole lot, really. I mean, she's a little in the background, which is okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, but yeah, I really like Mark Ruffalo in this movie. Even with the fact that he kind of does this weird face thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about with his mouth?
Yeah.
It's kind of a really weird, I don't know what he's doing. And, I've never seen the real Mike Resendez talk, and that might be a tick that he has in real life.
Yeah.
But it got a little distracting.
That's what a lot of people were saying. And I totally agree. I think that when
a lot of people were saying that about his facial tick.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I heard before. And it's interesting because I noticed that as an actor, I'm always interested when I hear actors getting critiqued for an impediment work like that. And I thought, I went to see it, and it's like it does stick out. It's strange. I didn't hate it though, because like you said, it seemed like a character tick or something, but it just stick out. It was weird, but I didn't think that it was wrong. I didn't think that, I don't know, it didn't feel wrong.
No, I mean, it didn't make it where I was like, oh shit, like, this is awful. It was, it was a little distracting, but not to the point where I was like, I need to stop watching this movie.
Exactly. I think that if they've been comparing Christian Bale and Mark Ruffalo, obviously, I think that, I don't know. Like you said, I don't know the real guy, but I don't know if the way Christian Bale's impediment work sort of melted into the character. It's kind of hard to do that with impediments that Mark Ruffalo was doing, and that's
right.
That's just how it is. So
well, and again, like we said, Mark Ruffalo being the main character of the movie, because he's on screen so much, it is a little bit more obvious.
Yeah.
So, I like everybody else, though. I mean, Brian Darcy James, haven't really seen him in anything other than the time he played Shrek in Shrek the Musical, the filmed version of it.
I was going to say, he's actually a huge Broadway dude, and his voice is one of my favorites.
I mean, I'm assuming you've seen Shrek the Musical, the filmed version, right?
You mean the live recording?
Yeah.
I did. I just saw some of it. I've seen some, yeah.
When I realized that's who that was in this movie, I was like, wow.
Yeah, we all were, even when we were like, oh, Brian Darcy James is Shrek.
Right? He's really good in this movie. John Slattery, I mean, he doesn't do much.
Yeah, right.
I like Liev Schrieber too. Liev Schrieber, he's kind of been doing his own thing on TV with, what's the name of that show? Ray Donovan.
Yep, my friend was just on that.
Yeah. He's kind of been doing that, and I haven't seen him in a whole lot of stuff. So it was good to see him in. It was good to see him in a movie. I hadn't seen him in a while.
I love Liev Schreiber. 100% Cotton.
Cotton Weary. My God. Cotton Weary. That's right. I know I can rely on you for some Cotton Weary.
That's right.
Oh my God. Good old Cotton Weary. Jesus Christ.
Man, that was good.
Yeah, Cotton Weary is some good stuff, man. You've never seen Scream? Go watch it. You'll get the reference. And he's a fucking cameo in the first Scream movie too.
Yeah.
And then he comes back to like be in the other two.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's great.
He's really good in the movie though.
He is. He was, like I said, this cast is why I wanted to see this movie. I have a special place in my heart for Mark Ruffalo, Rachel McAdams, and I would even say Michael Keaton, but especially God, who were we just talking about?
Ryan Darcy James?
No, Liev Schreiber.
I love Michael Keaton. I still think Michael Keaton got shorted last year for not winning that Oscar.
Oh man, I agree. I agree with you there.
And you know, another kind of great presence in this movie that is not even credited is Richard Jenkins as the psychotherapist that they talk to.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, you don't even, he's not credited, but that's Richard Jenkins' voice.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I didn't realize that's so funny.
And he's been doing a lot recently, Richard Jenkins has. So he's really great. I like the cast of this movie. The cast of this movie really is, I would say, one of, if not the best part of this movie.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, for such a really intense subject matter.
Exactly.
It's nice to have a cast that can carry the weight of that serious
topic. Yeah, I mean, subject is. Yeah, I agree. I think that's why the cast was so important. And it really worked. I mean, it's some rough stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's God. It's not a happy movie.
No.
And then at the end, it leaves you, doesn't really leave on a high note.
No,
either.
It doesn't. Not at all.
The Big Short doesn't either. I mean, neither one of these films leave it on a high note, which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah, I agree. I think I will say that I thought that the ending of this movie was a lot more chilling, just because they leave, the very last thing you see is a list of like locations, like cities and states and countries where this is happening. And like, that was frightening. That was a great little touch there, I thought.
Yeah. No, I agree. So before we wrap up talking about the film, what do you think the chances are that it wins Best Picture, Tom McCarthy wins Best Director, Mark Ruffalo wins Best Supporting Actor, and Rachel McAdams wins Best Supporting Actress?
My truthful, honest opinion, or, you know, I feel like...
Truthful, honest, not wishful thinking.
No, yeah, exactly. I totally think that it's going to get left behind. I'm afraid that the flash and glam of the other more Oscar baity films are going to drown this one out a little. Only because of what I've heard, and I'm going off of, you know, people's reactions, and I haven't heard much about this movie, unfortunately. And I don't know. I like I said, the character. I think Mark Ruffalo and Rachel McAdams are awesome, and I thought Mark Ruffalo was great in this movie. But this is such an ensemble film that they kind of blend into the work seamlessly, which they should. They should do that. I don't know. I think that this movie deserves the Oscar for writing, and I think directing. It definitely deserves some nods for the directing because of the way that they pieced the story together, for sure.
And the fact that Tom McCarthy, you know, this is his like 5th film.
Exactly.
And the last film that he directed was fucking The Cobbler with Adam Sandler, which
exactly.
Dear God in heaven.
Well, and it goes to also Tom McCarthy says his last nomination was for Up. He was a writer,
right?
So that's interesting. So I think that the writing and the way that this is, even film editing, I would say the way that this is, the story itself was pieced together and given to us was really, because that's what this movie is. That is the meat and potatoes. That's the heart of this movie, is the story itself. And I think the way it was delivered was kind of great. You know, it was really meticulous, and it may have seemed low-key, and like I said, it may have seemed dry, because it was to me a little bit. It's important that it was done that way. So they made a decision, and I think they went all the way. That's cool.
Yeah, I think fully embracing the theme and the darkness of this movie and the subject matter, and not kind of playing down to it.
Right.
I think is really great. It's really refreshing to see a movie take its subject matter so seriously.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I don't think Ruffalo or McAdams wins, unfortunately. Yeah. Just being realistic here.
Right.
I think there are other movies that, there are actors that are going to kind of get more, praise thrust on.
Right. Well, and also, like I said, there are other movies that showcase actors' ability a lot more than this. You know what I mean? This is great acting, but it's not about that. It's about a good story.
Yeah. I think you're right. It's not going to win. It's not going to win Best Picture. I would like to think that it would, and it's been gaining a lot of steam in the last couple weeks. Yeah. But I just don't think that's going to happen. And I mean, Tom McCarthy, great directing in this movie, but I don't think it. I think this movie is going to have won a bunch of awards pre and then not win anything during.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Which is a bummer because I really like this movie. So
yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah. Well, skip it or watch it in Best Performance.
I feel guilty saying skip it to something like this, even though I felt there were times where it was hard to keep my attention. I'm glad I watched it twice. I think there's something worth it if you give it some time. So I can't say skip it. I gotta say watch it. But as far as Best Performance, damn. That's tough. It's like, who's your favorite actor? I gotta, for some reason, I just love Michael Keaton, and I loved seeing him in this role. I just wanted more from him, but I understand your point. I get your point. That it just doesn't, it's cool to see him play this character. So I'll say Michael Keaton, but that being said, I think the whole cast was an awesome ensemble together.
Yeah. For me, it's a watch, and again, you gotta go into this movie understanding that the subject matter is pretty serious. Yeah. So, best performance. I'm gonna have to go with Mark Ruffalo. I mean, I like Mark Ruffalo a lot, so that shouldn't come as like a big surprise. Right. But Mark Ruffalo, I think, is really great in this movie, regardless of his facial tick thing that's going
choices,
on. Yeah. What do you think the film has on Rotten Tomatoes?
Let's see. I would think I'm gonna go with like an 83.
96%.
Ooh, damn! Really?
Spotlight gracefully handles the lurid details of its fact-based story while resisting the temptation to lionize its heroes, resulting in a drama that honors the audience as well as its real-life subjects.
Wow, interesting. Maybe people like it more than I thought. That's good.
I mean, 96 tomato meter, 95 audience score.
Wow. I'm impressed. Yeah. I'm actually really glad to hear that.
It's really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think that it's deserving of the praise too. So
that's awesome. I do too. I think they pulled off some really cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, before I talk about the next two culture casts of next week, Sean, anything you want to talk about or plug?
No, just as usual, follow me on Twitter. I'm Seanifer, and you can follow me on Facebook as well, Sean Liang.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Kulturestash. And if you want to check out more Kulturecasts, we are on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. So give us a good review on either one of those, or give us a listen. We have 100 plus episodes of the Kulturecast. Next week, we're going to be talking about Anomalisa and Creed. We're going to have an interview with Tom Noonan on our Anomalisa podcast. And make sure to check those out.